Hey, this is Ryan with another marketing tutorial. Today we're going to talk about horizontal scaling with Facebook ads. So this is going to be great if you have a campaign that's performing well, that has a good cost per result, it's producing a lot of conversions, and you want to increase the daily budget, the amount of money you're spending each day, so that you can extract more conversions from it. The horizontal scaling technique is a great way to achieve this, and it's a technique that I've had a lot of success with, so let's dive into it. So there's really two primary ways of scaling up the budget on a campaign. Let's say that we have a campaign with 5 ad sets inside of it. Each ad set is spending $10 per day, and we're using ad set budget optimization, meaning the budget is being distributed at the ad set level. And let's say each of those 5 ad sets is performing very well. They've got very low cost per conversions, and we want to increase the amount of money we're spending per day so that we can generate more conversions from it. So there's a couple ways that we could do this. The first way would be to simply increase the daily budget for each of those 5 ad sets. I have a video that talks about my approach for doing that using automated scaling rules. And so let's say we scaled each of those from $10 to $20. So now we're spending $100 per day and we still have 5 ad sets. So that's called vertical scaling. You're increasing the budget and scaling those ad sets vertically. Another way to do this logically would be to simply add more ad sets. So instead of increasing the daily budget, you just add more ad sets, you target new interests, and now we have 10 ad sets inside of our campaign running at $10 per day. So now we're still spending $100 per day, but that ad spend is distributed across a greater number of ad sets. Okay, so how do we actually scale our campaigns horizontally? I'm inside of a campaign right now, and we've got 4 active ad sets inside of it, and we can see that all 4 of these are actually performing quite well. The cost per lead for each of them is between $8 and $10, which is pretty good for this client. And so what we're trying to do with horizontal scaling is add more ad sets into this campaign. So we could simply click the green create button, create a new ad set, and then in terms of audience targeting, we could just select at random a new interest to target. The risk with this is that if you're just choosing a random audience interest, there's a relatively low chance that that's going to be successful. At least in my experience, I find that, the success rate, for every 4 ad sets that I launch, then maybe one of them might be successful, and then the other 3 are maybe a little bit unprofitable. And so those 3 that are unprofitable, that's ad spend that is wasted, and that's going to increase the overall cost per result across the campaign. And so what I like to do is use a slightly different approach so that I can increase the likelihood of success when I launch new horizontally scaled ad sets. And so I'm going to show you how to do that right now. It's using audience insights. So we're going to click on the menu, scroll down, and then click on audience insights. That's going to open a tool that looks like this. And so what we can do is, first of all, select the location that you're targeting. I've selected Canada. And then the next thing we're going to do is identify an interest. So I'm going to go back to the campaign, and let's say that only this ad set was performing well in this campaign. And I know that this ad set is targeting the real estate interest, so people interested in real estate. And so what I'm going to do is go back to Audience Insights and type in that interest that I'm targeting in that winning ad set, select it. And the first thing we're going to see is some demographic information about the people who like that interest. This audience size is 8 to 9 million people in Canada. So it's a pretty broad audience. So this is a good research tool, but we're going to go to page likes, and then we're going to scroll down, and at the very bottom we see a bunch of different pages and then this affinity score. So what this affinity score means is that this audience that we've identified, people in Canada who are interested in real estate, are also interested in these pages on Facebook. Specifically, in this case, they're 171 times more likely to like Wayfair than the average Facebook user in Canada. So people interested in Wayfair have a high affinity to people interested in real estate. And so the reason this is important is because we know that targeting the real estate interest with our particular ads, our particular offer, is currently performing well. By targeting new audiences that have a high affinity score, we're going to increase the probability that that newly launched ad set will also be successful, simply because this new audience that we're targeting they have a lot in common with this audience that we're currently targeting that's performing well. So there's obviously no guarantee that launching an ad set targeting Wayfair is going to perform well, but In my opinion, I think this is a more logical and a safer approach to launching new ad sets as opposed to just choosing a random interest. A couple things I'm going to look for is audience size. I want to target an audience size that's a couple 100,000 people or more typically. So oftentimes you'll find some very small audience sizes, not in this case. I'm also looking for affinity scores that are quite high. So these are pretty good affinity scores. Typically I like to see above 300 times or higher, although it can be difficult to find a 300x affinity score. Oftentimes the audience size for those interests are very small, and sometimes you can't even find them based on the interest that you're currently targeting in your campaign. So in this case, what I might do, because all 4 of these ad sets are actually performing quite well, I might take each of the 4 interests we're targeting here, put them into audience insights individually, and see if I can find the highest affinity score. Then what I'm going to do is take Wayfair, and I'm going to go back to the campaign. I'm going to select the ad set that I derived that affinity audience from. I'm going to click on duplicate and duplicate that ad set infrastructure. And so what that's going to do is duplicate all of the targeting, all of the settings for this ad set, as well as all of the ads inside of it. The reason that's important is because we don't want to change any settings except the audience. We know that the way that this ad set is currently configured, as well as the ads that are inside of it, that's causing this result, this desirable result that we're seeing. And that's also what we're deriving this affinity audience from. And so we want to keep everything the same and ensure the highest probability of success. And so all I'm going to do when I duplicate this is change out the audience from real estate to Wayfair. And then I can do this multiple times. So maybe I create one with Wayfair, maybe one with the Home Depot, maybe one with IKEA. One thing I'll note is that these are pages. These are not necessarily things that you can target in Facebook's ad manager. So when you do the duplication, you're going to delete the real estate interest targeting. You're going to type in Wayfair and see if that's even something that you're able to target. Oftentimes you'll find that some of these can't even be targeted for whatever reason. So just keep doing it until you do find one that you can target. The unfortunate thing with this particular campaign is that we're in the special ads category, which means we're running ads related to housing. And so our ability to target detailed interests is very limited anyways. And so probably most, if not all of these interests aren't going to be able to be targeted anyways. But for most of you who are not running ads in the special ad category, you'll be able to find a ton of interests. And so you can test as many of these affinity audiences as your budget allows. Now let's say that we launch a new ad set targeting Wayfair and that ad set ends up doing well. Then we can actually derive affinity audiences from Wayfair. So we're going to type in Wayfair. And do the same thing. So now we're coming up with some different page likes that we didn't find previously. But now that we know the Wayfair audience interest is performing well with our particular offer, now we can start deriving affinity audiences from Wayfair. And so we're now starting to peel away from the topic of real estate, right? Like if you look at these interests, these are probably a bit obscure and probably not interests that you would have considered targeting when you first launched your campaign. But in my opinion, I think this is an advantage because you and all of your competitors, when you're launching a real estate related campaign, you're probably going to be targeting those obvious real estate interests. So by using this audience insights technique, you're going to be targeting interests that you and your competitors probably wouldn't have otherwise targeted. And so you're not going to be competing in the same auction pools with them. You will be competing in the auction pools against other people who are targeting these interests. But because you have a different offer and it's a different industry, you could see some significantly different results in the positive, potentially, than what you're seeing with the obvious real estate interests that you would otherwise target. The other thing is that a lot of these audiences we find here have pretty substantial audience sizes. Wayfair is 400,000 people, and there's a few above 200,000. And so by finding these affinity audiences with large audience sizes, that gives us a really good opportunity to scale vertically if those audiences end up performing well when we launch them in new ad sets. One thing you have to be careful of when using this audience insight method is audience overlap. So because we're deriving audiences using audience affinities, there's a good chance that there's going to be some overlap between these two audiences, right? So what we're going to do is go to our menu and then go to audiences, So when you have multiple ad sets that are active inside the same campaign, you want to make sure that there's not too much overlap between those two audiences. And so this is an especially common problem when you're deriving audiences using audience insights. Because there's so many similarities among those people, it's possible that there is some significant overlap as well. The reason that audience overlap is bad is because two or more ad sets are targeting some of the same people, and so some of your media spend is being spent unnecessarily or inefficiently on those same people, which could cause increased frequency and entropy, which will ultimately increase the overall cost per result on your campaign. A little bit of overlap is fine, but what we're going to do in the audiences section, you need to first save your audiences. So when you're inside of your ad set that is set up and you've targeted your audience, you need to save it. And then we're going to select these two, click on the three dots, and show audience overlap. And so when we select two audiences, I'm going to select the real estate audience, which is the larger of the two. It's 790,000 people in size. And we can see that the audience we're comparing it against, the real estate investing, there's an overlap of 37%. Generally speaking, I'd say above 30% is probably too high. The overlap in this case is 289,000 people. So 289,000 people in this audience also exists in this other audience. Now, if I flip it around and use the real estate investing audience as the primary audience and then compare against the real estate audience, we can see that there's a 94% overlap. So because this audience is 310,000 people, 289,000 of those people also exist in this real estate audience, which is an overlap of 94%. So obviously this is a significant amount of overlap, and we wouldn't want these two audiences to be active at the same time. If this is the case, just go back to your audience insights and find a new affinity audience to test instead. And so just to recap on kind of the process that I do and that has kind of worked well for me. Let's say I launch this campaign. After a few days of collecting data, I might apply vertical scaling rules using automated scaling rules. I created a video that goes into more detail on how to apply those. And then if I have some additional budget as well, and I want to continue maximizing the amount of conversions I'm getting for this client, I'll use the horizontal scaling method using affinity audiences to increase the number of ad sets inside of this campaign. I'll do that by taking the highest performing ad set currently in there, the one that has the lowest cost per result, as long as it's collected a significant enough amount of data. I will take the interest that we're targeting. I'll go into audience insights, find affinity audiences that have a relatively high affinity score and a relatively high audience size. I'll duplicate this ad set. I'll swap out the old interest with that new audience affinity. I'll make sure that there is little audience overlap between those two interests. And if there's less than 30%, then I will launch it as a new ad set. After that new ad set has collected data for a few days and it's performing well, then I'll start applying the automated scaling rules to that one as well to scale it vertically. And then I'll just continue that process over and over until I have enough active ad sets inside of a campaign where I'm not able to spend any more money just based on the client's monthly media budget. If you found this video helpful or interesting, consider dropping a like below. I appreciate you watching. I'll see you in the next video.